Every game. And there's a lot of talk about Manchester United coming up in PL Express. And it is time for PL Express now. We'll be starting this week's show with a bold take and getting your opinion on it, Janusz. And yes, it does include Manchester United. We're also going to be giving our thoughts on Liverpool and Spurs, a little bit away from the VAR controversy, because I feel as though that's dominated everything, and understandably so. But let's focus on what we've learned about the teams. And you're going to give us your top 5 players in the Premier League right now, which I'm very much looking forward to. So let's start with that bold take then to kick things off. Manchester United are worse off now than they were under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
No, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was still here, Manchester United would be playing in Conference League, maybe. I mean, he was there long enough, right? I mean, and okay, one time he's brought him in, they were in the Champions League, so give him due, and one of the cup finals, if I remember correctly. But no, I mean, that obviously didn't work. I mean, he was the opposite from Ten Hag, almost too nice, I suppose. We'll get to Ten Hag in a second, but I don't believe that would have been the right choice. In terms of Ten Hag, he's not beyond criticism. I think I've been very positive on him because he gave us a reason. I mean, the first season was absolutely outstanding. And when we say first season, I mean, he got there when things were just about same as now, if not worse to a degree, right? So a little bit of shock treatment was needed, and now he's got to manage. And that's the criticism, because when you first get there, you have to do a little bit of maintenance there, and that happened with Maguire, that happens with Ronaldo, maybe with some of the players. Then obviously he got some of his players in. Those players are disappointing, and you and I have voiced our opinion. Players that are coming in that he was comfortable with because he had him, at some stage at Eredivisie, be it at Utrecht or Ajax, obviously. And as we've said before, there's a massive, massive difference between the two leagues. And it shows. And I don't even want to name check all these players because you know who they are. And that's usually not the type of players that come to Manchester United. The question that I don't know about, because I'm not there, did he want them over some of the better players, or are Manchester United not able to tie down the best players? Because I think part of it is true. I think the top players don't want to come to Manchester United anymore. It's as simple as that. We see it over, we've been hearing about Harry Kane and, Daniel Levy not wanting to sell to a competitor, money, this or that. Who knows? Maybe Harry Kane said, no, this is a bright old mess. I don't want to go there. I'm not guaranteed anything over there, and I'm going to Bayern Munich. And that could have been the case with many other names that we've heard over the summer, because that's where Manchester United are at the moment. And I hope, and I know a lot of Manchester United fans, and they're not kidding themselves. I hope there's not, the people that I don't know, I hope they don't kid themselves thinking that Manchester United are what Manchester United once were, because they're not. And I think we see a little bit of that. How to get them back? Well, it took Sir Alex Ferguson many, many years to establish Manchester United as one of the greatest clubs in history, right? I hope that this Manchester United is not being brought down by yet another manager, because, to put everything on Ten Hag is unfair, of course, because they've had some great coaches, just to mention Jose Mourinho as one of them. So, yeah, it's not great, but that doesn't mean that we can't have a go at him. And Kay, look, I mean, that shock treatment needs to continue, right? Because the boys were talking about, the players. Look, I want to see the leadership for Bruno Fernandes. I'm not sure I'm seeing it. There are games that he plays well, but leadership is a lot more than just playing well. Rafael Varane, Casemiro, Rashford, gloves are off, right? I mean, if I think of him, the statute of limitation has expired on him. He's 25 years old. And I think, what we saw last season was great. We don't see that often enough. And I think, to a degree, massive mistake of giving him a bumper deal last year. I know how he did that. He probably held them up for ransom because it was easy to say, I may want to go somewhere. They knew how great he was last season, how much he's needed, and how bad it would look if somehow Rashford wanted to leave. So he got extra money. Not seeing it right now. And I think if you Ten Hag, don't treat him with gloves on because again, you're seeing, we're back to Rashford that's not really good and very inconsistent, not to mention his body language, as everybody sees.
Well, let's talk about Zlatan Ibrahimovic talking about this very topic in a recent interview, saying, what is the experience of this coach? Young talents, he comes to United. It's a different mentality, different players. The players there are supposed to be big stars. He's in a different situation. I can imagine him coming from Ajax to United is a big difference because I've been in both clubs. Essentially, he's alluding to the fact that he's not managing big players well.
Could be. I mean, look, Zlatan, loves Jose Mourinho. I mentioned Jose Mourinho. They were there. Okay, Jose Mourinho, what did he want? Europa League, right? Jose Mourinho now is talking
well, he said Janusz as well, didn't he? He said that his biggest achievement was finishing second with his United side. And many people did roll their eyes and say it's so typically Mourinho to say that. But you can see what he meant.
Yes, but no, I'll give you that. I think that maybe he is not experienced in that yet. But again, they chose who they've chosen. I don't remember many other big names banging around and saying, I want to go to United as managers. Does Zlatan mention a manager that wanted to be at United or should be in United? Those are two different stories, right? So remember, the season was already being played in. They decided to make a change. And at that time, forgive me here because I don't remember who the other names were, but I just don't know of many big time experienced managers that at the time absolutely wanted to be at United. I could be found out wrong here because I just don't remember. But some of it is fair points. I just wish that Zlatan came out with that statement last season when Erik Ten Hag came in and got Manchester United to the Champions League spots, won the League Cup, and lost to Manchester City in the final. If Zlatan said that at that particular point, hats off. Now,
Yeah, it doesn't mean as much to you. But what about the players that Erik Ten Hag's brought in? What to make of what he's done here? Lisandro Martinez, Anthony, Onana. Because obviously you do look at when a new manager comes in, the players that they've given the nod for and the players that they've said that they wanted. What's your assessment there?
Well, I think I just said it. I just mentioned. I don't think those are the type of players that Manchester United should be going after because there is a massive drop off, right? I mean, which player? As I said, Onana. Let's give him some time. Not good enough right now. Remember, De Gea wasn't either. Maybe he'll come good. Malacia, again, not a player that I would envision at Manchester United. A player that makes a difference. Maybe for depth, maybe. Anthony, he was wonderful. He was very young. Give it to Zlatan. This was a very young team that kind of we looked at as Ajax. Great. We knew what they can do there. And from time to time, we knew that they could do it in the Champions League. But at the end of the day, we knew that ultimately it's not going to happen for them, right? So it's a different way of looking. They were not favorites ever to win anything. Manchester United historically is favorites to win all the trophies, and that's a massive difference. Højlund, again, I think I agree with Stevie. He's going to get better, but I don't know if Manchester United can afford to keep on waiting for teams. It's a little bit similar to Chelsea, isn't it? When we talk about managers, when we talk about players, when we talk about different way of running things, I do think in this crazy chaos, Chelsea are a little bit more organized. At least they have a owner, although maybe crazy to some, but that's willing to spend the money. And we all know with Manchester United, it's kind of a little bit different. So again, not beyond criticism. I think this is an important time, next couple of months for Erik Ten Hag, because if this continues, we're not going to see Erik Ten Hag at the helm of Manchester United for sure.
So let's go back to basics on how he does turn it around, because as you said, and you mentioned what he did last season, I feel as though we were praising him a lot more than criticizing him. And obviously as facts change, opinions do. And that's just the way it goes when we're talking football and particularly managers as well. But what does he need to do to just try and get back to basics and turn things around here?
I think, fundamentals. I mean, he we often talk, we don't see the identity, which is part of the issue that we're all having with him, because by now we should have seen more, right? But right now it's not about that. Just like Chelsea, you've got to win. You've got to win 1 or 2 or 3 games. They're not that far from top 4, so let's not panic just yet, because I promise you, if they win 1 or 2 straight games, you're going to see Manchester United a little bit closer to where you expect them to see, because they were never favorites to win the league. at all. Even if things were going better for them, I don't think that this team is capable of doing that. Get some players back. For me, it's always an excuse. I'll give that to Chelsea. I'll give that to United. I gave that to Liverpool last season. No coincidence that Liverpool are doing a little bit better with some of the transfers right now than they were last year when they also had 8 or 9 or 10 players. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care your name. I don't care how much, the depth. When key players are missing, it's always difficult because you never have the lineup that you want to have and that you think is capable to delivering the ideas that you may have. But the basics, just win games. However, at this stage, if I were Manchester United, I wouldn't be looking necessarily for style points.